Hey, what's going on everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So one of the things I missed while I was out was the release and the reveal of Lily Shieldpaw, the final Chaos Legion airdrop summoner, the dragon summoner. It kind of got mixed reviews. I think I'm pretty high on it. With a couple sort of caveats that we're going to talk about in this video. But before I get into that, I am Hawks21 and I cover Splinterlands here on the channel. So if you're into this type of content, it would be awesome if you could take a second to subscribe and join our fast-growing YouTube community. Okay, so I know this is late. I tried to stay away from all Lily Shieldpaw videos so I could have some of my own organic thoughts. I obviously saw some stuff in Discord, saw some stuff on Twitter, just to sort of see the general temperature around Lily. And it seems like people were disappointed. I'm going to have another video that comes out probably after this one that ranks the Chaos Legion legendary summoners now that they're released. So I'm not going to get too into sort of the overall ecosystem of the releases. But basically, little teaser, they didn't put out sort of plug-and-play carry summoners. And this sort of Lily confirmed that. And I think you also saw, so quickly, I don't know if this is still going to be the case. Yeah, so Kitty had fallen down right before the release to about, I think it was 250 to 270 area, if I remember correctly. And I think a lot of that was speculation that, okay, Lily's coming out. This is going to be the summoner that dethrones Kitty. Maybe not dethrones, but it's going to be sort of replacement level with Kitty. You could have this airdrop or Kitty, and you'd be sort of on equal ground. Well, that's not the case. For the most part, I think Lily's great. And, a lot of people don't have Kitty. And if you don't have a maxed out Kitty, I think you should be really excited about Lily Shieldpaw. But it didn't really do anything to, question Kitty's sort of throne of best legendary summoner. And I think, outside of specific niche cases, you're generally going to spend the one extra mana to get Kitty versus, playing a Lily on a given battle. With one major caveat, which is sort of the first thing I want to talk about that I really like about Lily, is we finally have a, recent modern summoner for Dragon that you can play in reverse speed. So there were some expensive untamed ones. If we go to Dragon Summoners for Modern. So there aren't a lot of reverse speed options. Drake is one. You could always play the no ability Cretch. Bright and Bloom is kind of expensive, but that I guess could be a niche play. Tispa, no one really uses. Quix does the -1. Speed, so you don't want to use that in reverse speed. Camellia is very, very expensive. Kitty, obviously the +2 speed. Even this, right? Tispa you could do in reverse speed, but it's based on dodge, right? Which is easier to do with speed. Same with flying. Flying is a little different than phase, obviously, but it's still mostly built on speed. And then even I'm not going to pull it up, but even the summoner we got for the Soulbound reward cards has +1 speed. So a lot of speed in Dragon. And I finally feel like I have a Dragon card I can turn to in reverse speed type contexts. There's a lot of time where I want to play the Carnage Titan or the Chaos Dragon in reverse speed. And seeing as I have Kitty and Quix, it's impossible for me to do that. I don't get to play those cards in those contexts. So right off the bat, I think we have a summoner that can work well in reverse speed. that we haven't really had an accessible summoner in Dragon for that up until now. So that's number one. Let's just talk about, actually first we'll take a look at the Chaos Legendary Summoner sort of ecosystem here and look at the price points. So right away, this is the most expensive normal Chaos Legion Legendary Summoner. These two, we had promos here, so I'm not going to really take those into account. And it's most expensive by a decent margin. I don't think that's super surprising, given it's Dragon, and I do think it's very, very powerful. I'll talk about more of these when I rank them. But it definitely is going for a premium right now. It's the most scarce. Again, it's Dragon, it can play all the splinters, so I get it. Let's talk about some specific plays. So first of all, let's just go back to Lily. Couple things. So the big ability is Camouflage. And effectively what that's going to do is you control the order in which your cards get attacked. So if every monster has Camouflage on your team, your opponent is going to attack the first monster every single time. So every sneak, every opportunity, every snipe, all of that is going to hit the first monster. So what you can effectively do is turn any monster you want into a taunt monster. But beyond that, your second monster is then going to move into the first position and become a taunt monster. Then your third, then your fourth. The only thing that can really change that is Scattershot. So they changed how Scattershot works, along with the release of Lily, so that Scattershot can hit camouflaged monsters. That was, I think, sort of a way to balance this out a little bit. But it's very unlikely, outside of playing Yasek, that you're going to get a bunch of Scattershot type plays. So for the most part, you're going to be able to fully dictate the order in which your opponent is going to have to get through your team. And as I've talked about on this channel before, if you can control where your opponent shoots, that's very, very powerful. So the second ability is Triage. And a lot of people were questioning, okay, so if you have an ability here that, in the Camouflage, that forces your opponent to attack the first monster, what good does Triage do? I actually kind of like Triage with this combination. Mainly because there's a handful of ways you can still take backline damage. We talked about Scattershot, which it's hard to sort of bring out big Scattershot plays unless you're talking about playing a Yasek. So if your opponent brings one Scattershot monster, for the most part, you have a decent shot at triaging whatever gets hit, right? So that's one thing. Poison rule sets. I could see you having to play Lily a lot in poison rule sets. I think it could be a really nice play in poison rule sets for a variety of reasons. +1 health, again, dictating the order so you can have immunity monsters in the back. You can have life leech, which we'll talk about a little bit in the back. There's a lot of opportunities to set up your lineup well for a poison rule set. On top of that, you're going to be triaging that back line. So that's big. You're going to be able to heal up as your opponent struggles to get through whatever defensive type monster you put up front. Also, there's going to be return fires, magic reflects, thorns, whatever it is. Your backline monsters, they can take damage. So being able to triage that up while still providing support to your tank and being able to do damage will be really, really nice. And also, if you don't bring a reflection shield monster, blast is going to start hitting your second monster. So being able to triage that up could be really important. So I like the triage. Triage is a very, very powerful ability. So let's talk about some specific plays. So I said that effectively everything becomes a taunt monster, right? Well, that also, what happens to taunts? So they also changed taunt. Or didn't change taunt. I think they made a clarification with taunt. In this case, a taunt monster is still going to take precedence if all of your monsters are camouflaged. So you could put a taunt monster anywhere on the board with Lily, and that taunt monster will be attacked. Except obviously if you put it in the back, and the frontline monster isn't going to attack in the back. A reach monster, I don't believe is going to attack in the back. I'll have to wait to see. But I don't think it's going to attack in the back, because generally reach monsters will still attack the first position, even if you do a backline taunt. Anyways, this also takes into account the triage, right? So you can put a backline monster and you can almost double up, right? So one idea I had was, and one I'm going to certainly test, a good combination will be putting a taunt monster in the last position, bringing a spirit hoarder, which is going to have triage and blind, and then up front, putting a super evasive tank. So it's all going to work together where you're going to be able to keep your backline tank, a backline taunt alive with the double triages. And then, once they do get through that backline taunt, if they get through that backline taunt, the Spirit Hoarder is still going to be effective with the blind on your elusive monster in the first position. So you can create like a really difficult obstacle course that your opponent has to get to, while your other three monsters, whether they be opportunity monsters, sneak monsters, reach monsters, whatever they are, just deal tons of damage. And you're going to have some longevity, and you know the order in which your monsters are going to be attacked. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of cool things that you can do with Martyr here. And not necessarily just Martyr up front, right? There's going to be opportunities for you to put Martyr in the third position because you want to boost whatever your fourth position monster is. You can basically put Martyr wherever you want because you know it's going to make its way up to the front, and it's going to die when you want it to die. So right now, it's sort of a niche situation where you can't only, but strategically right now, you play Martyr in Fog of War, you play it in Snipe, you play it in Super Sneak, you play it in situations where you have a pretty good idea of where your opponent's going to attack. Well, with Lily, you basically know where your opponent's going to attack. So you're going to be able to utilize Martyr in a bunch of ways that you currently can't right now. Another cool opportunity here is blowing up sneak plays. So think about the Kelia sneak plays you see all the time. Kelia, Pelacor Bandit, Uraeus, toss in an opportunity with Deep Lurker, sort of that mid-mana Kelia play that sort of runs wild. It works really well because they're fast and they attack your back line. So they're going to take away your damage dealers. They're going to take away some of your weaker monsters. Then it sort of leaves, by the end, your front line alone trying to deal with your entire opponent. Well, now they can bring those out. You can bring Lily and all of those sneaks, all of those opportunities. Boom. How about we put a Bakjira up front with a cleanse, right? So, Deep Lurker and Uraeus have a bunch of poisons. We can cleanse that. Oh, we can bring a Murdali Guardian alongside. So we're going to get a double heal, and we're going to repair. We're going to bring some sort of protect with Venari Wavesmith, and we're going to repair that. And then we still have a bunch of spots. We're going to bring our own Deep Lurker and our own Pelacor Bandit, and we're going to start coming at your back line while you guys have to focus on the Bakjira we have up front. So there's going to be a lot of really, really cool plays, sort of countering some of the sneak meta that we see right now. On top of that, I mentioned this earlier, I think there's going to be some really, really cool things you can do with healers. So, overall, the idea of keeping some sort of tank alive, it's been the main sort of concept. One card that got a huge boost, I'll pull it up right now, and this card got a big boost in price, was the Oshur. And that makes sense, right? Because you're talking a monster that has tank heal and reflection shield. So you're going to put your taunt up front, or your tank up front that becomes effectively a taunt monster. You can put this in the second position. It's not going to take blast damage. It's not going to take magic reflect damage because it has a reflection shield. You're going to resurrect your tank. And then also, you have tank heal. So you're going to be able to keep that monster alive. The resurrect is also cool along with Lily because, again, we talked about the martyr plays. You're going to be able to use martyr a lot. So if you do want to put it in the first position, knowing it's going to be eliminated, bringing a resurrect is always a great idea. Because then you're going to get that double martyr, that double boost. But more broadly than just using heals to keep your whatever monster you decide to be in the first position alive, I think putting heal and repair and those types of monsters in the last position, and then including either a life leech monster or a scavenger monster in the 5th position is going to create some really, really cool scenarios. So for example, let's bring up, I got to take off some of these filters. Let's bring up the Murdali Guardian. Oh, actually, it's perfect with the Murd Hamper, because that's what I want to talk about. So the Murdali Guardian, tank heal, repair, strengthen. So you put this in the 6th position, and in the 5th position, you put a Murdampier, who is going to hit for 3, has cripple, has life leech. So it's going to life leech up a ton of health. You know, presumably, you're going to put a lot of defense up front, make it really, really difficult to get through. The Murdampier is going to, you know, I've seen Murdampiers, I've had Murdampiers with 40, 50 health. All of a sudden, the Murdampier moves into the front position. It can't attack anymore, but good luck getting through, you know, a 50 health Murdampier when you have the Murdali Guardian behind it, healing it along the way. An even better play is with one of the new Rift Watchers cards, because it can attack from the front. I believe it's KYE, is that right? Yes, Runemancer Kai. So this would work even better in a variety of reasons. One, it can attack from the front, right? So it'll move up with magic, has the life leech, has the fury, so if they bring a taunt, and also it's going to have shield. So put the Murdali Guardian in the 6th position, put Runemancer Kai in the 5th position, and all of a sudden you're going to get a juiced up Runemancer Kai that's getting healed, that's getting repaired. The only thing you really have to worry about is affliction. And if if your opponent doesn't bring that, then you should be sitting pretty. You know, another option I talked about was Scavenge. So you can't do it with any of the water monsters, but actually, let's quickly go to Blight. You know, we've seen Dr. Blight with the Scavenge, how much health it can end up with at the end. Now imagine it's in the 5th position, and you bring Murdali Guardian in the 6th position. So Dr. Blight's going to keep getting healed. An even better option, which I was about to get to, if I can find it. What am I doing wrong? I'm looking for the... Is it not named the Truth Speaker? I believe it is a rare life... Oh, I'm only in Chaos, that's why. There we go. So let's go to the... I think you know where I'm going with this. Truth Speaker. You're going to get the Protect, you're going to get the Cleanse. At the highest level, you're going to get the Tank Heal. So you put this in the 6th position. You put any monster with Life Leech, so you could do Stitch Leech. Put any monster with Scavenge. Talk about Dr. Blight, Vol'gin. And by the time they get to the front, they're going to have a ton of health. They're going to be protected by the Truth Speaker. They're going to get cleansed. They're going to have a tank heal, so you can't take away that heal. There's going to be a ton of plays, sort of sustainability plays you can do with putting a healer in the back. Finally, let's take a second to quickly just look at some tanks. This video is going to be kind of long, but you know, I think it's important to talk about the cards that are going to benefit. Let's just start quickly with Fire. Actually, hold that thought. I'm going to make a part 2. This is getting pretty long. So this part 1 sort of talked about some general strategies with Lily. You can expect a part 2 where I'm going to go through each splinter and talk about specific cards that I think are going to benefit from Lily. It's going to be a cool conversation. I just remembered it's Dragon, so I have to go through every single splinter to talk about it. But just to wrap it up, sort of martyr cards, life leech cards, anything with a heal, cleanse, protect is going to be important. Taunt monsters still retain some uniqueness. Scavenge, life leech. You're going to be able to blow up sneak plays. And then the Camouflage is the main ability. Camouflage is awesome. If you can dictate where your opponent attacks, that benefits you. But don't sleep on that triage. I think that triage is going to be a very, very important part of some of the strategies you can run with Lily. Okay, stay tuned for part 2 where I'm going to go through some specific cards. And we'll talk about splinter by splinter, how Lily can sort of affect the ecosystem. I'm going to stop it there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm very, very happy to be back. If you want to celebrate with me, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, I will talk to you guys soon.